Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Good evening again, folks, and welcome to Last Man Standing. And once again, I don't know how I'm going to top stupid o'clock, but we'll just hang out and chat and see what we can, what kind of trouble we can stir up. But y'all do watch that one on the replay if you did not see it live. A lot of fun there. And Joe Bachman is with me tonight, and Donna has retired for the evening. Dawn may be here later. I don't know. Quite possibly. And let's see what the comments are. Oh, that's Joe. So okay.
Yep.
No biggie. I still have to message my niece and tell her about Behind the Code. You said Monday night.
Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. I will be sure and pass that on as soon as I can get my email working again. I might have to go to Gmail and do it. At least that one still works.
Yeah, I actually remembered what time my own show is scheduled for once. So,
hey, these things they happen. Wasn't that many weeks ago. I forgot to hit the go live button until we'd already done an hour and 20 minutes of the show.
oops.
And then we still did another 2 hours and a half.
Oh, wow.
After that. Yeah. I was very glad that I had taken that Thursday, or was it a Saturday? I do not know. The next day, Friday or Sunday, did not have to go to work the next day. I am still adjusting to this final vacation of my working career. There's going to have to be a new normal established. My wife and I have already had this discussion, but there are things that I need to get done that would require me to get up before 5 p.m. regrettably.
Yep.
But used to be my natural biorhythm was go to bed at 3 a.m., get out of bed at 10 a.m. And that was vacation time back when I was still working. So
Mhm.
we'll see if I can. Yeah, I got up at 10 this morning. So we'll see if we can reestablish that particular habit. It was not onerous, and if it hadn't been for the fish and chips food coma that I went into after she cooked supper tonight, probably be kind of lagging right about now. But oh,
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm still going right now. I'm still, even after almost a month of not being on midnights anymore, I'm still trying to kind of recovering from that.
mm,
But as long as I'm keeping myself busy with stuff, I can generally stay awake. So
hey,
this one of the reasons why I started burning that piece of wood last show.
so you had something delicate to concentrate on.
Yep.
Yep.
And while I
And
may not have your music playing, I still have you in the background. So
yeah, will wonders never cease. Um, no, and I'm so glad that you managed to relocate the pattern that you were looking for that you had not previously saved, but you saved it this time.
hmm
So,
yeah, I need to start doing that because it'll ask me before I exit out, "Do you want to save this?" And generally, no, I'm not going to save it because I do it on so many different sizes of wood that each piece, especially the live wood pieces, I have to measure them out and then try and figure out,
have to
like
get the
that.
scale of the drawing correct for to fit the piece of wood that you're burning the pattern onto.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like the one that the live wood I'm going to be burning on Wednesday night. The first one I printed out, the lines went out over the edge. It's like, yeah, crap. So I got to go back in, size it down a little bit more, and got it damn near perfect this time. So that'll work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me look at this program. I wanted to ask you if you've ever heard of it before.
Yeah.
It's it's the one that I'm going to have to be using to do the Aphelion covers this year. Where did I hide it? There's not that many up. Oh, Scribus is the name of the program.
Spell that out for me real quick.
All right. It is SCRIBUS version 1.5.8.
Uh, SCRIV is in Victor or B is in boy?
B.
B is in
Boy.
boy? Boy,
Yep.
okay.
As in, it was done by a scribe.
Okay.
Um,
Scribus.
I don't know what kind of learning curve this thing has got, but I'm going to have to start practicing with it in order to pick up all the finer points.
Let's see here. Oh, go away, ad.
If it doesn't do layers, I'm going to be switching over to one of the other programs real quick, because there are things where I'd like to save the top layers and slide a new photograph underneath for a background.
Mm-hmm. Professional publishing features such as color separation, CMYK, and spot colors. Versatile PDF creation. Well, let's take a look at what the Mac version looks like.
I have opened up one of the finished files on it, but I was trying to stumble around and figure out how it was done. And there are little bits and pieces that I could modify, as well as put a brand new background photograph in there. But I could not get it to go layers, so I'm not sure if I was looking at the wrong file format or if it was usually the program has its own file format, and then to put it online, you save it as a PNG.
Right.
And that would not have layers.
Right.
So
yeah, you might almost have to work with like GIMP or something like that. I know GIMP does layers.
well,
But
I've got
GIMP
all
isn't
kinds of things.
exactly user friendly either.
Yeah, I've used GIMP before. I mean, it's good for what it does.
I more
But
use it
it's
just for converting file types than anything.
yeah, exactly. I've got oh, wrong computer. I don't have that one on this one. I've got other stuff on the other computer, but Corel Draw, Photoshop, a lot of other things that I could use. Not really versatile with them yet, but for putting things together as a sort of a collage or something, I have used them before, and I can make it work. There was one that has become a subset of Corel that was called micrographics that I really loved back in the 90s. That one I could do anything with that I could think of. I've done stuff that has turned out to be book covers with that one, but it was bought up by Corel Draw, and it's supposed to be a subset of the version I was able to get, but no, there's a little bit of a learning curve on there. So don't know. Whoop. It'll work one way or the other. There's a lot of things that I have used since the 90s that I've got experience with and I'm real comfortable with, but they may not do the same sort of professional work that I've been seeing with Nate Kahlhofer's covers that he's been doing for us for 10 years, and now he's pleading burnout and going, I'm sorry, going to have to turn this over to somebody. So I am de facto elected at the moment. So I'll do what I can do. I can't promise it'll be as good as it was for the last 10 years, but I'll give it a good old college try.
There you go. That's all anybody can ask for. Let's see. Oh, okay.
He has clued me into the best repositories of astronomy photographs to use that are their Creative Commons public domain stuff,
Okay.
and clued me into try and stay away from them, the ones that have an individual's name credited rather than a telescope's name credited, because that means that individual processed the stuff and may have put his own claim to it. So I don't want to be stealing stuff from anybody.
Right.
But we shall see what we shall see. I've got it's January 7th now. I've got 4 more weeks to learn how to do this. Oh, and I've got other stuff I'm obligated to do as well, and I don't know when I'm going to get the time. There's a voice recording I'm going to have to do on Audacity. There's um, other stories I need to write for the next book. There's another book that I'm within about that much of finishing, and I need to get back on that. There's another couple of quick projects where I had to go back and do a really quick re-edit, reformat, and drop out the stuff that is not concerned with that particular story specifically, but was dropped in there as foreshadowing for other background material. So the background material can't be in there because I don't have time to write it. But I need to know it. The reader does not need to see it. It's like, well, like I said, foreshadowing, prehistory of that particular story.
Mhm. Well, it looks like it does a layer set. I personally almost think GIMP is actually easier than this damn thing.
That's what I was afraid of.
Well, I'm kind of screwing around with it as we talk here, and like there's no, you add in like a square just as an example, and there's nothing that I could see that really pops up. Like this toolbar doesn't light up at all.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. God, that's some shit coding on their part. Literally, the only thing that pops that looks like it's actually able to be picked is the red X.
And who knows what that does?
That deletes the whole page. I already found that out the hard way.
Okay, so I'll know to stay away from the red X's.
Yeah, but you can kind of layer things on top of each other, and I'm actually just using the properties screen here just to kind of go through and do stuff.
Yes, and I see you're messing with Nick right now.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I plead the fifth.
Yeah, like I've been to college for art and I can't tell a gradient. Right.
It's just the way it's shown up on StreamYard. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
It's my lie. I get to tell how I want. Okay.
Okay.
So it does do like a layer. You can like move stuff up and down. You can, I'm assuming, probably set transparency on certain things to be able to slide stuff in. I did
Yeah.
see in the
I
property
would
screen there is a transparency section.
I would have to for titles and credits. They would have to be transparent background over the astronomy photo. Yep.
Which, I mean, that's simple enough to just set the, if you're doing a text box generally on most things,
Mm-hmm.
it'd just be a matter of, there we go. It's already got the transparent background. You just have to get rid of the line for the text box, but
Yeah. And hell, I can do that in Paint.
most of them have an option for getting rid of your
Getting rid of the
lines.
text boxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst comes to your worst. I have done some awesome stuff with Excel, oddly enough. So I can improvise until I get the hang of either this or something I can use much more easily.
Yeah.
I can fake it for a little while, but you know, Nate set a very high bar, and matter of fact, he's been nominated for e-zine cover artist in the uh, uh, Predators and Editors Readers Poll this year again.
Oh,
Yes,
very
and
nice.
he has won at least twice in the last 5 years. So um, he does great work. He does great work. Very multifaceted person. Lots and lots of talents. Not only is he a good writer, he does stone carving and ice carving and art, graphic art, I should say.
Okay.
So guy knows his stuff. Very very sad to see him have to bow out, but his life, his rules.
Yep. Okay, that's gonna drive me nuts now until I figure out how to get rid of that damn line.
Mm,
Yeah. Maybe the Windows version is better. Um,
well, that would be astounding, but
you know what? Let's see what format it saves. If it has its own format, it saves in. Oh, you can
um,
save as a template. That would work.
yeah, that would make things a whole lot easier because then I would just have to change the date, the featured writers for that month, and the background photo.
Yeah. Which one of these days I'm going to get around to actually finishing what I've been writing and get it submitted.
Looking forward to it. Um, you and Richie as well. Mm, that'll be fun. Because Richie discovered us a long time ago,
Hmm.
and he fell in love with my writer's prompt page, and he's told me time and time again that has generated a lot of story ideas in his head. So I'm very proud of that. That's one of the bits of my legacy that I can really feel confident about. People can read that and go, "Ooh, that's a nice idea. Thank you for making that publicly available for anybody to use." And it's easy because no two writers will come up with the same story from the same writing prompt.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that. There's a lot of creativity that can be generated there, and it has been in a lot of people. Wouldn't necessarily be the way that I would write that story, but doesn't mean that it's not better than anything I can write because most of the time it is. I love the way different people's minds work in different ways. I am glad to see it, and happy for whatever small contribution I've been able to make. But,
Yeah. One of the things I know I got it off the writing prompt page, and I think it's been removed since. Because I don't see it on. I haven't seen it on there. Something about the weirdness of reality. Reality is kind of the one I've been toying around with.
um, I haven't I haven't changed the writing prompt page in a long time. I
Okay, there is a
haven't.
fly down here that is going to meet his demise. He keeps buzzing my damn headset and face.
Well, there's a writing prompt for you. And swat that fly, and all of a sudden you find out you've got a teeny tiny little starship in your hand.
Yeah. Oh, I just have to find time to. I actually have to take time to sit down and try and write some more.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with writers. It's there's so much going on in our lives, and even if you are one of the folks that are I don't want to say dedicated enough, but are able to get into the groove of sitting down every day and devoting at least an hour, 2 hours, whatever, to typing words on a page. Um,
I,
sometimes you just life gets in the frickin' way.
mhm. After my mom retired, um, that's when she really started to focus on her book again, and she was having trouble because she had worked 3 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. for years, and then when they did away with the unit secretary job, and she had to actually become a day walker again and take on a day job, it was a bit of uh, bit of a challenge for her because she's always been a creature of the night, as she would say. Um,
Oh, she's a Tim Curry fan. Okay.
yes. Um, but she would after she retired, she was having trouble. She was getting back into her I'm going to be a creature of the night routine, and then not getting up until 12, 1, or 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'll be back in a minute, guys.
Okay.
Already. And I told her, I said, well, I said, you need to set a routine. You have nowhere, to go most days. I said, we got her a membership to the one senior center uh, not too far from us, which helped, being able to go down and just, play cards with the ladies, crochet, things of that nature. Almost backfired on me because they were needing someone to teach, like, how to use your Android phone. And she looks at me, I said, no.
Uh-uh. Sorry, Mom.
I do not have the time nor the patience. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but but she for quite a while she managed to start getting up at 8 o'clock. She'd take her blood sugar, eat breakfast, and then go into her craft room, fire up her laptop. She would edit the chapter that she wrote the previous day, and then type out the new chapter because she had everything handwritten down for the most part.
mm-hmm.
So she'd type out that next chapter and add in whatever was missing from her handwritten notes. And then the next day, she'd get up, take her blood sugar, eat breakfast, go in, edit that chapter, type out the next.
That's one thing about writing. When you've got something you did the day before,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go in and do the edits on that, it gets you back in the groove, so you know where to pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing that a lot on previous vacations where I had an extended time away from the factory
Mm-hmm.
and I could just throw myself into stuff. Um, the the Comet Impact novel, that was the way that was done. Um, I'd wake up the next day, pull up the file, and go, "Who wrote this?" Basically.
She did that a few times. I'd get home from work, we'd be talking. She's like, "Yeah, I went back and edited the chapter I wrote yesterday," and went, "Where the hell did this all come from?"
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. If once you get into the groove, words come out of your fingers and they don't necessarily cross through your mind. They're just there all of a sudden. And what I like is when the characters start basically giving dictation. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is what it looks like where we are right now. We're going over there. We'll tell you what that looks like when we get there. And this is what we're going to have for breakfast. And you just go, what the? I didn't plan that. Well,
Mhm.
planning has nothing to do with being a writer unless you're one of those rare people who can actually outline things first and stick to an outline.
Can't even outline my own damn apps that I create, let alone trying to do something I'm going to write.
I will freely admit to being a pantser. Everything that I have written that's been worth reading has just been, I don't have the faintest idea where that came from, but I like it. I'm
Mhm.
keeping that. Ooh, that needs to go because that's. I might be able to reword that one, but I doubt it. Um, and you just fly by the seat of your pants the entire time, and the story begins where the story begins, and it ends where it ends. It's not a plan.
Mhm.
It is a continuous work in progress. That's the only way I know how to work. But a lot of other people actually can plot things out in advance and stick to the outline. And hey, I'm glad to celebrate your success, but I can't duplicate that.
Mhm.
I'm not built that way.
Yeah, my mom had, I think, 1 or 2 chapters written down for her next book. I don't think they were typed out. I think she had them written down in a notebook that is somewhere in that craft room. God
Hmm.
only knows where. Um, and I don't have the balls to go in there and try and dig through all that shit.
You don't want
Because
to get spanked. You know better. Um,
well, when she passed, wife and I were talking about all the craft stuff my mom had because she did crocheting like my wife does. She did a whole bunch of different stuff, painting, various little artsy things with like pistachio shells and everything else. And when she passed, I looked at my wife and said, "That room, congratulations, that's your inheritance." Uh,
I am hereby passing this book.
yep,
Um,
you're gonna have a better idea of what to do with all this shit than I ever will. So,
uh-huh. Well, back in the day when I was first getting started out, I wrote the outline of an entire novel in about 3 or 4 of those little flip folder notebooks, the hip pocket notebooks.
yeah,
And then when I started typing it up, each page of that became 4 pages. And then when I started fleshing it out in a word processor,
hmm
each page of that became 4 extra pages. And I'm going, I got a lot of stuff here. Well, I gave up that project because I realized I needed to learn more about the craft of writing. So it would be better for me to shift to short stories
hmm
and get stuff done faster so I could get feedback from other writers and readers and figure out how to make things better as I went along. And that that stuff still exists. One day I would like to do that one, but it would be a very, very long. I mean, basically, it was if Lord of the Rings was science fiction, this is what it would be.
oh,
Uh, yeah. So I would like to get to that, but I, I don't know if I've learned enough yet. I've learned an awful lot, but I don't know if I've learned enough to do the original idea justice quite yet. I will get there. I will get there sooner or later.
yeah. I'm trying to. The one I've been working on, I keep going between trying to figure out how to make it a short story and kind of wrap it up, and uh, it just being a full length thing.
Yeah.
and I just can't seem so far figure out how I'm going to move on and in what direction.
Yeah, that can be one of those choices you either don't want to make, or you put off making, or you're just not comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
until you get, once again, in full flow. The words are going, everything's fine. You don't know what you're going with, you don't know what you're doing, but you wind up at a place where the story logically ends, but there are enough loose threads that you could pick it up again at a later date and do a sequel or a prequel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I find the most fascinating about writers. So our minds work forward, backwards, inside out, and upside down. And it's normal for us as individuals, but it might not be, something the average person who just reads stuff
Mm-hmm.
would be comfortable with having the full explanation of how this happened and that happened and that happened, and how this chapter came about and what inspired that particular character and things like that. Um,
Well, that's another thing that I think kind of gives me a disadvantage to trying to figure out how I want to write this. Is I really don't read all that much.
mm,
It has literally been probably the better part of 5 years since I actually last read a book.
there's where I have the advantage of you.
Hmm.
I have read enough books to fill more than the average size library. Um, Not all of them were good,
Yeah.
but I was entertained
Mm-hmm.
and learning a little bit, even from the ones that were not really well written, but were still entertaining because of
Yeah.
what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
The characters might not have been that well developed, but the premise and the action and everything like that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
yeah.
actually, I uh, need to edit my last statement. Um, I did read Carl's The Mad Gasser Cheerleader and The Cheerleader Returns.
Mm.
Um, I did read both of those recently. Before that, it's probably been a better part of 5 years.
Mhm. Well, I'm glad to say that one of the advantages of being at work was I could read on my break times, and I had the Kindle. So I bought all of Michaela's books as soon as I could. I got Keisha's book as soon as it came out. Um, I've got hard copies of several of Donna and Uncle Carl's books over here that I have yet to have time to devote to them, because I don't want to take them to work and get spaghetti sauce on the pages or something. You
Right.
know, because I can only read while I'm eating a meal on break time. Well,
Mhm.
now every day is break time all day long.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I keep myself from just reading everything that my friends have written, which would not be a bad thing, but still have time to knuckle down and write more of my own? This is a compromise I'm just going to have to make.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, and that's where it comes to, at least at first, after you first retire, kind of like I was telling my mom, you need to just kind of make a schedule for yourself.
mhm.
And to vote, yeah, there's always going to be emergencies that come up, trips to the store, making repairs around the house.
Exactly. Yes.
You're always going to have those things that will throw you off schedule for a day.
Mm.
Maybe two, depending on the extensity of the repair. But at least you'll have something that next day to go, okay, I know I need to get up at X time, have breakfast, shit, shower, and shave, and get working on X, Y, and Z.
Yep. That's what I've been telling my wife. It's going to take me a little while to work out what the new normal is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe, here's you an idea of how up and down my reading has been. This is going back to 2019 on my Kindle. I read 40 titles that year. 2020, I read 9.
You got busy.
2021, I read 44 titles. 2022, I read 30 titles. Last year, 2023, I read 39 titles.
So the year that we literally could not go out and do shit for about half the year is the year that you read the least amount.
Yeah, because for some reason, Joe Dog wanted me to be a part of these live streams that he started doing.
Ah, okay.
Yep. That's the ticket right there. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been really great to socialize with people that are so far away. I will almost never get the chance to meet them in person, but you get to know them. You get to know their work. You buy their work, and when you got spare time, you read their work, and it's just so much fun to not be sitting in a room staring at the walls.
Yep.
Um,
And we met some very creative, talented, in different ways.
Oh yes.
That have enriched our lives just by knowing them.
And that's one of the reasons I admire Joe. He's doing something right now that I can't do. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. But I can appreciate somebody else's art form.
Yeah. He's very good at that. He can. He's generating a website for independent authors and creative types. He's got all of his vast experience in different phases and areas of the workforce. He's worked with road crews. He's worked with state government. He's worked with major businesses. He's worked with small businesses. I mean, he's got quite the resume to be so young.
And really, when he gets bored, he can always take a snowplow and go push cars off the road.
Yeah, the town trucks won't do that, but we get the wimpy little pickup trucks here in this town.
But
Which
the
I did
dream
say.
You could at least give him a nudge, couldn't you?
I'd probably still do more damage to those old ass trucks than I would.
You broke the snowplow?
I didn't realize there was a Miata underneath all that snow.
There was a Cadillac. I'm sorry I missed it. Oh, Lord.
The state plows, on the other hand, yeah, I could have, well, depending on the truck, I could have pushed it. if it was one of the old Sterlings, as long as those old Sterlings, everybody hated them. I loved them, and the real treat was when you got put in one of the old Sterlings that still had an AM/FM radio in it,
Mm-hmm.
because most of those old Sterlings were so old, and they'd go through and upgrade the salt systems on them,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing else. So it got to the point where they had to start ripping out the AM/FM radio and certain other things to allow enough power to go to the salt spreaders and shit.
Mm-hmm.
There was one truck in particular that I could not have most of my safety lights running and have salt being spread at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those systems are very power intensive, and I can only relate to them as if they were farm vehicles, basically.
And the
A,
funny
a
thing
dump
was,
truck with a manure spreader, in other words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sterling was the result of Ford selling off its heavy trucks division.
Well, the thing with those old Sterlings, the trick was getting them to start.
Mm-hmm.
They did not like the cold start. A couple of them, we'd have to actually pull, use the front end loader,
Mm-hmm.
with some chains, pull this thing into the one of the shop bays and let it sit there for about half an hour to an hour to warm up some.
Yeah.
But once you got it running, as long as you didn't turn it off, that thing would run like a raped ape the entire night.
Yeah.
You couldn't go above 45 unless you were going downhill with a good wind behind you.
Mm-hmm.
But by God, would that thing push anything out of the way? You might do it at 20 miles an hour, but it'll get you through it.
Yep.
And they would stick me on these old Sterlings out on the expressway with, the guys who are in the newer trucks, and I'd have to be sitting there radioing them going, guys, I'm in the Sterling tonight. Yes, I'm a dual axle like the rest of you, but I can't do above 30 in this thing right now. Because we always tried to run, staggered.
Yeah.
And to keep cars from cutting in between us.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also in the right lane, so I'm not only pushing off my snow, I'm getting snow from the 3 other lanes pushed over to me. And even doing about 30, I'm throwing snow. I probably had a good 60-foot rooster tail coming off the side.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be people flying down the on-ramps trying to get in front of us, just going right through that wall of snow. And I'm just sitting there thinking, you're dumb. I know you cannot see what is in front of you there.
Oh, I was going to an Anachricon one winter, and went to Banks Crossing, got off on the exit to hit 75 south and go to Atlanta, and everything was great till we got right to 75, and it's like, ooh, there's a 3-foot wall of snow that I'm going to have to go through with a Kia van. And the Kia van went, hold my beer and watch this. Went right through, got up to 75 miles an hour. Oh wait, 70. I don't do more than 3 over the speed limit because I'm chicken. But the worst part of that, after I crossed that wall of snow, was the fact that I was driving south and east, and the sun was reflecting off of everything that had been deposited on the road. I'm going to need the welder's goggles for this one, because it's like bright light.
Snow blindness is a real thing, folks.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Take it from
Yeah.
the person who's plowed midnights, and as that sun is coming up, you're going, "Oh God, let it start snowing again. Bring the clouds back."
Mhm.
Yeah, I started to say it's not quite as bad at night, is it?
It's not as bad at night until you hit daybreak. You hit
Yeah.
daybreak, and it just
Yeah.
sucks. At that point, you're kind of hoping that it's still snowing, and
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, that trip was one of the ones where I'm going, they had to hold it in February, didn't they?
Yep.
Well, it turns out, February is a great time of year for steampunk costumes because they are usually very warm.
Yep.
And when you are dressed up like a pseudo-historic character from an alternate universe, and you're wearing layer after layer after layer, you kind of are glad that it's cold outside. Otherwise, well, the big problem, other than that, is you'd go outside and go to like the dealer's room, which was in another building,
Mm-hmm.
get all warm and toasty in there, and then come back out. And I wear glasses, so automatic fog.
Mm-hmm.
There was one night I got called in. I had just fallen asleep like hour before. My phone goes off, and it's the unit foreman. What the hell does he want? It's not even snowing out.
Oh.
I answer it, and he's like, "Hey, we still need to do some cleanup. I could use some extra people. Can you come in?" Dude, I just fell asleep. He's like, "It's only for like 4 hours. Is all we need you." All right, fine. Let me get dressed. I'll be in. 10 hours later, we had cleaned up most of the routes.
That 4 hours got stretched in a hurry, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. We got most of the routes cleaned up. Me and this guy are hitting the north end of Indy Boulevard, where it crosses over into Illinois. And we make the loop in Illinois. We're coming back into Indiana. And he's in the left. That section is 3 lanes. He's in the left lane. I'm in the center lane. I'm already past my second or third wind at that point. And all of a sudden, my whole truck just goes poof. Instantly had my fourth wind going because my heart's now going 1,000 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Radio my partner. I'm like, "Hey, pull over to the gas station. I need to check to see what the hell I just hit." We pull over. I get out and look. I'm missing a chunk out of the plow like this in the center.
Mm.
These are solid steel blades. And it wasn't just the plow blade that broke off, it broke through the whole backer and everything. Bent this. We're looking at it, we're looking around. There wasn't anything in the roadway, no manhole covers, no nothing. Nothing off the side of the road that I could see, nor that I remember, getting kicked off to the side of the road. No idea what the hell I hit on that road. All I know was I was no longer tired and was able to complete the rest of that shift.
Mm.
It's a wonder what adrenaline will do for you.
Oh, yeah. And that had to be something solid to rip through that plow blade like that.
Uh-huh. Not anything insubstantial either. I mean,
Yeah. And it rocked the whole damn truck.
guardrail, something.
Yeah. And it rocked the whole damn truck. That plow blade jumped and everything. But we ain't got a clue what I actually hit to this day. Because the next time I got called out, they had put me on Indy Boulevard. I'm coming back down that center lane, and I'm got my plow down like usual. Nothing. I don't know what the hell I found, but apparently I must have ripped it out.
Yeah. one of the canal boat videos I watched earlier today, little teeny tiny girl driving a 60 something foot long boat. I mean, 40 tons of steel.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going through a lock on the canal. And all of a sudden, she pitches up like 45 degrees and stuff starts falling off the roof of the boat into the water.
Ooh.
And they were already plowing through ice. The
Okay.
canal had frozen over. It hadn't frozen over very badly, and she's just going, I don't know what the hell I just hit, because this boat has never done this before. I'm going, anything that can toss a 40-ton boat on its side has got to have been something, a little bit more substantial than a shopping cart that somebody tossed in the canal.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in that particular lock that she went through was an extreme hazard. And her and her husband do not have the slightest idea what it was, but it certainly raised their adrenaline levels in a hurry. They forgot how cold it was.
Plot
so
twist, it's off his body. Oh.
He's driving a little bitty boat with an outboard engine.
Mm-hmm.
She's driving the big boat with a big diesel engine. And like I said, anything that can toss 40 tons of steel up on its side has got to be a substantial thing.
Mm-hmm.
No sign of anything in the water.
That's weird. You'd think there'd have to be something.
Yeah. I mean, somebody must have rolled a car or a truck off into there or something.
Yeah.
Like I said, this ain't a shopping cart. And from all of the folks whose videos I watch, they find shopping carts in the water lots of times, and not always in a fun way.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, there was a different video where they went by people that were magnet fishing in the canal, and the guys doing the magnet fishing go, yeah, we pull about a ton and a half of metal debris out of here every week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just in the little section near where they live. Shopping carts. God only knows what else.
Right.
It's just serious navigation problems. There was one I watched not last summer, but summer before that.
No.
Somebody was swimming in the canal and cut his foot open on a shopping cart that was at the bottom of the darn thing.
Damn.
While he's swimming.
Mm-hmm.
And in some places, those canals double as sewers. So he had to go to the hospital right away.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely going to need a tetanus booster on that one.
Yep.
It's not all 4 miles an hour. Everything's fine. We're doing what we can, and it's going to take us 16 hours to get X number of miles down, and we got to do this number of locks, and then we've got a stretch where there's nothing, so we can just chug along. But it can get dangerous.
No. Come here.
I hear a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's my little girl.
Yeah.
Hobo hasn't come down here and tried to corral me to bed yet.
Come
I've got the door shut so the dog can't get in here. And the dog is, kind of welded to Lindsay. So,
Oh, don't do that, Joe. It's contagious.
Got my
No.
fix right here.
Yep. Come here. Yeah, come on.
I'm surprised I haven't gotten tired yet, but
It's not that bad.
we've only got another hour, so
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get used to doing this again. It
Mhm.
was easier during lockdown when, hey, nothing to do, and now still got nothing to do, but I got to organize my time better. We had that discussion earlier, so yeah.
People's community. Yeah, no.
Oh,
That's
Her
some
fur is so
really
soft.
cute pictures of Hobo earlier today.
Yeah, Hobo's cute.
Oh,
Yes,
still can't.
sweet as she can be.
yeah.
He started using his cat tree.
Oh,
Yep. At first he'd lay underneath it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other day he started laying on the center tier. And then today, after laying in the center tier and going up and kind of, using the scratch post on it, decided to jump up to the top tier and realized he liked that even better because it's right next to the window. So he can look outside and get a nice little cool draft from that ancient ass window and help himself stay cool.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because, good lord, does that cat run warm?
Yeah. I'll
Well,
wake
I
up
imagine
sometimes.
being in Indiana, he needs to stay warm, especially this time of year.
I think that's why he's more apt to lay with my wife than he is with me because I run warm. Like, I
Yeah.
let off a ton of body heat.
Mm-hmm. And she's cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason why I will wake up in the middle of the night and I've rolled over on my back instead of one side or the other side. I'm just laying there. And then I realize Billy is between my knees
Hmm.
and he's keeping the entire lower half of my body warm. And I'm going, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Billy's a cat, I take it.
Yep. Not a very big one either, but he throws off an awful lot of heat.
You'd be surprised how much heat these can generate. They were laying on me earlier this morning, me under the covers and them on top of me, and they were generating just the right amount of body heat. They weren't too hot and they weren't too cold.
Well, that's another thing that Kimber's good for when Lindsay's not having problems with her um, acid reflux or anything, and she can actually get into bed. The dog will climb right in there in the bed and get between us and keep us both warm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've heard of 3 dog night, but this one is pretty impressive. And
Yeah.
you combine the dog laying there in between the two of us throwing off body heat and the cat in between my knees throwing off body heat. I'm a comfy fella.
Yeah.
Now, if the dog just didn't get jealous and keep me from reaching out and touching my wife while she sleeps, which is one of those things that we got in the habit of doing when we didn't have the dog, and it's not any big deal. It's just kind of reach out and touch her shoulder or her back while she's sound asleep, and she feels reassured, and everything else. And,
Mhm.
if she has a nightmare, I'm right there. I wake up. There's been many a time when I was nodded out in this damn chair and she had a nightmare. I jumped and ran to the bedroom. Don't ask me how I knew she was having a nightmare, but something woke me up and let me know. So it's everybody has their own habits and lifestyle and their comfort zones.
Excuse me.
Um, being surrounded by love is my comfort zone, I guess.
Excuse me.
Whether it's human or canine or feline, it all feels good to me. Um, make of that what you will, dear critic. Uh, and basically, if it weren't for this old space heater, I'd freeze to death back here.
Mhm.
I mean, I know I've had a lot of time in that drafty old factory, but then I'm wearing insulated coveralls in the wintertime
Mhm.
and working. So I'm generating lots of body heat myself, keeping myself warm. But um, sitting in a chair, talking or typing does not generate an awful lot of body heat.
Yeah, see,
No.
I can be sitting down here in the basement in the summer with the AC running, just typing, and still break into a sweat.
Welcome
Yeah,
to Georgia.
it was warmer Friday than it was Thursday,
Yeah, a little bit.
but I had to get out my coveralls because for some reason I was cold in my legs. My upper body was fine, but my when you're in a exposed open air dock, you don't want to be cold.
Hmm.
No, you do not.
That's the thing about docks up there where you are, Joe. They're closed in and insulated, especially during the wintertime.
Now, folks at work used to laugh at me because I had this great big long scarf. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that I bought on an Army surplus website. It was something that guys in Desert Storm were issued,
Mm-hmm.
and we got open overhead doors that cannot be closed.
Mm-hmm.
It- I mean, it's been years since anybody fixed those so that it could actually be closed. They're open all the time.
Yeah.
And because we've got the glass furnace at one end of the plant and the warehouse at the other end of the plant, you could fly a kite in there with the convection currents from open overhead doors, 2,800-degree furnace.
Hmm.
That's going to pull some air right there.
Yeah.
So if you are too near one of those doors, you're either going to be wearing a face mask, even if it's just a one of those white paper, you know,
Mm-hmm.
dust masks, and I would wrap that thing around my head like it was a turban. The only thing that they could see was my eyes because I had my safety glasses in a little vent there that I could put my
Mm-hmm.
safety glasses through, and I was covered up like a Tuscan Raider.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were making fun of me at first till they got assigned to that particular machine right next to that particular door and go, maybe the old man got the right idea. Uh, experience counts for a lot.
I
Um,
I remember working with the maintenance unit one winter. We were out patching potholes, and they all thought I was nuts because every day the foreman would try and put me in the truck that was hauling the wagon or hauling the sand or whatever. And I'd tell him, no, put me out, with the crew actually shoveling mix. And I'd be out there, I'd, be shoveling, filling potholes. I'm working I got my jeans, my safety boots, a t-shirt with one of the thermal shirts on underneath, and a stocking
Mhm.
cap, and my safety vest. And I'm out there, I'm just going to town. It's, 20, 30 degrees out. I'm perfectly warm. And the one crew leader looks at me one day, he goes, how are you not absolutely freezing right now? And he was a bigger guy. I mean, he was a big guy like me. And he's all
Mhm.
bundled up in his Carhartt bibs, Carhartt coat, everything else. And I
Mhm.
looked right at him. I said, well, unlike the rest of the crew, I'm actually working my ass off right now.
I ain't just leaning on the shovel, I'm using it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I said, I'm pulling out hot mix out of the back of the patch wagon. So I'm getting a little bit of that heat coming off that. I got a little bit of the heat coming off the patch I'm dropping it into. And I'm building up body heat walking back and forth. I said, if I was standing there like most of y'all, I'd be freezing my ass off too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember there were a few winters when I was still on the farm with mom and dad, and might be snow falling, and I was out there plowing the ground for winter wheat, and I was bundled up really, really well, but the wind was biting. Because all I'm doing is sitting there and driving, and that does not generate awful lot of body heat. That there was more than once when through my leather gloves, my fingers were cold enough to where I stopped the tractor. I did not shut it off.
Mm-hmm.
I went and grabbed a muffler and let my hands thaw out because
There,
it was that cold. Um,
there were nights that there was a few times that we were pouring concrete at night, and it was warm enough out. We were within spec,
Mhm.
but we had that wind coming down 94, being up by the lake,
Mhm.
and it was just freezing out. And there ain't much for us to do because we only test every fifth truck. You know, so by the time you get done testing a truck, you're sitting there for about 2 or 3 trucks before you got to actually do anything again.
Mhm.
And luckily, with it being cold out, they're supplying hot water for the concrete.
Mhm.
So your hands weren't just absolutely freezing the whole time you're cleaning out your testing equipment.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time next to that light tower, just putting my hands down by the muffler and warming
Mhm.
them up.
uh-huh.
Well,
I
As
reached an
long as it's
exhaust fumes.
running, I mean, it's thermodynamics is a thing.
Yes.
A lot of people may not understand it implicitly, but once they have to live the lifestyle, they develop that understanding very quickly.
I
Um,
remember one day, the coldest day I can remember. It was like 8 degrees, and the wind chill was negative. I mean, below zero. And I remember the sales crew came out and was passing out hot chocolate to the dock workers. And
we
the hot chocolate wasn't staying hot for longer than 5-10
just
minutes at the
yeah.
most.
really, you were lucky if you got 3 sips while it was still warm.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had the year that I
Damn,
left
it's
INDOT,
cold.
the year I left INDOT, we had a polar vortex up here. And the first day with the wind chill, it was -50. And so we had, the state actually gave us the option. They're like, if you're in construction, if you want to go to your field office, go for it. If not, take it, burn a sick day, burn a personal day, whatever. Maintenance still had to report in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only because of the plow trucks. They were taking turns running out there, making sure they were all running still. The Gary sub alone went through 3 pallets of anti-gel for the trucks.
Mm.
And still had several trucks that they had to put the 911 anti-gel into to get them to ungel.
Wow.
The next day, it was still negative 20 out with the wind chill. My wife and I happened to be working out of the same construction office at that time when we were both at NDOT. We get up there. It was so cold in that trailer, that wind was hitting that trailer so hard that we kept going back to the supervisor's office to warm up because his office was right next to the furnace. So he still had heat. By the time it made it down to the other end of the trailer, it was like AC coming out of that vent.
Yep. There's one area of the glass plant where the molten glass gets channeled through ceramic channels to go to the spinner mechanisms that actually take the liquid glass and spin it out into fibers.
Okay.
And that furnace is 2,800 degrees, which is 1,000 degrees hotter than a crematorium. You go up on the Fort Hearth area where this particular place I'm talking about is, and it's midwinter in Georgia, blowing a gale outside, and you go, this feels good.
Mm-hmm.
It feels real good. Of course, you can only spend about 10 minutes at a time up there before you start getting dehydrated. But I've often thought, if it didn't screw up the process of actually spinning the glass, they could probably put a couple of fans and some ductwork in here and give free heat to the rest of the factory. I don't care how many acres it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it would take away heat. The glass needs to stay molten.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had thermocouples where you could generate electricity off of that heat, their bill would be a whole lot lower than it is, because they spend a lot of money keeping that electric glass melter going.
Mm-hmm.
Because that thing has got to stay ungodly hot, and the glass has got to stay ungodly hot till it gets down to the platinum bushing inside the stainless steel spinners. Now, you know how valuable platinum is?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One day we had a leak in the melter. We had to shut down to have that thing rebuilt.
Mm.
And there were platinum electrodes to keep the glass hot.
Mm-hmm.
One of them got lost.
Ooh.
There were supervisors out there going through the broken blocks left over from the tear down of the melter, looking for that piece of platinum.
Mm.
I don't know if they ever found it. We had about 5 guys retire that year. I don't know if it was a partnership or what, but I don't know how the hell you can sell platinum because that's even more tightly regulated than gold.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's actually a safe built into one of the walls of the factory, and this is not. This is like take a gun safe, make it bigger, and occasionally office people have to come out. Management has to okay, opening this safe, and they take inventory to make sure nothing's missing, because
Yeah.
that's where the spare platinum bushings wind up. And I'm just
Mhm.
looking at that thing going, hmm, I got a forklift over here. I bet I could open that. Might take a chain, might take a torch, but yeah. Um, the idea has crossed my mind, but
Mhm.
I don't know who the hell would buy platinum. I don't know any jewelers that would not take
Be
it and
calling
turn your ass
somebody.
in.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah. And basically, I'm a law-abiding person, so uh, it occurred to me, but not enough to be able to act on those not quite
You
charitable
didn't have
thoughts.
to leave.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We we used to use nuclear density gauges at the state for running our compaction tests.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to go through the whole certification, get your little radiation badge. Um, I was one of the last people in the state. Or, yeah, one of the last in the state that was still certified on it. Um, when they started moving away from it, because the state got tired of paying for that license every year.
Yeah,
It was something
yes, they
like
do.
500,000 per district that they were
Mm.
paying, and we had to, like, if you were transporting it, you had to have this little thing up on your dashboard. That way, if you got into a wreck, they knew there was something radioactive in the vehicle, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we put them in the
No.
field offices, we were supposed to chain them down. There was one of the closets would have some hooks in the floor that you were supposed to chain the whole case down to. None of us ever did because it was such a cramped space that unless you were a contortionist or a 5-year-old, you were going to play hell trying to get this thing chained down.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had theirs stolen out of a field office.
Oh.
Somebody broke in, stole a bunch of other shit too. Filed the police report. 2 days later, they get to the office. Guess what's sitting on the steps?
The radioactive shit.
Whoever stole it, once they found out what it actually was, went, "Oh fuck! I get
Exactly.
I get caught with this. This is going to be federal time."
Uh-huh. Or this could kill me. I'm going to take it back.
hmm
Uh, yeah.
Everything was in working order. Like they never tried to actually crack it open or anything.
Thank God.
You
There
know,
are
they could.
horror stories about that happening. Um, I think once it happened in Mexico, and once it happened in China. Somebody actually had a one of the machines they use for cancer treatments
Mhm.
that had radioactive materials inside, and they had actually cracked the damn thing open, took a torch and cut it open. The radioactive source containment,
Mhm.
and I think in both instances, more than 5 people died just from being around it when it cracked open. The one in China, they actually lost a chunk of it sitting in a junkyard. And not only did a lot more people die from the direct radiation it was emitting, but when it came time to clean up, a lot of the junkyard had gotten ionized by the radiation. So it was equally as dangerous, just shorter half life. Um,
Yeah.
I've watched these on YouTube, and it's like, oh my God, how can people be so stupid? Um, I don't care if it is in a stainless steel container. If it says cesium, drop this and run for your life in whatever language you speak. You pay attention unless you're really stupid.
Yeah, this thing, I don't know that it had enough to actually create any kind of disaster. I know that if you were like, if it was to break open, you were supposed to cordon off, a certain section, notify whoever the hell it was. I don't even remember at this point. But I don't think there was actually like even enough radioactive material in there to even create a small dirty bomb out of, let alone anything else. Because the way they made it sound was, they always told us when you go to run your density test, you go up, get it all prepared, get everything typed in that you need to type in, and there was two ways of doing it. The one way never worked right, where you actually were supposed to like pound a little hole into the ground and actually have it drop down in. Yeah, it never had the right readings, and trying to line up the damn hole, you had to basically open it up and get the little radioactive part to drop out so you could actually see to make sure it was going in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time you're just releasing the cover and it just did a ground penetration from the top. But they'd say, hit start and run back 200 feet. You know how well that works when you're having to do a density test on a slope wall?
I am guessing not very well.
Come here, Bubs.
Nope. You're standing there with your boot against the front of it to make sure it doesn't slide down that wall as it's running its 30-second test.
And the boy decided to show up.
Oh, the little orange one this time.
This is Rowdy, a.k.a. Bubba.
There were a couple of other dangerous pieces of equipment there at the factory. The old one emitted gamma rays. And it was both versions. The one we got now, it emits beta rays. But both of them are there to basically measure the density of the glass as it comes down the production line. I have read Hulk comics. I have seen Bill Bixby. I know how dangerous gamma rays are.
Yeah.
I did not go anywhere near that piece of machinery. But it's still one of those things. And even with the beta gauge now, with the beta ray emitter, it's safer. I will give you that. I know enough about nuclear radiation. No, beta is safer than gamma, but still get nervous because one of the main catwalks I have to cross to get to my job is within 50 feet of it. So, and Dad used to work at Oak Ridge in a place where they have the underwater nuclear reactors.
Oh.
And one of them has a tennis shoe at the bottom of it that somebody lost on the catwalk above it.
Mm,
No, ain't nobody gonna go get that damn tennis shoe.
Nope.
You're
no.
talking about in Oak Ridge, a nuclear reactor. Oh, no, this is not playtime here. Um, this is very serious stuff. So
Well,
yeah,
for some reason, my mind, as soon as you started mentioning nuclear reactor, my mind went to the Saturday Night Live skit where Dan Aykroyd was Jimmy Carter, and he went into the nuclear reactor, and it turned him into like 100 feet tall. And then Garrett Morris was playing the cleaning lady, and she went in to clean it up. She became 100 feet tall too. And he was doing it. Rosalind, honey, I love you, but due to some lifestyle changes, and then it showed them hugging and embracing, and they were going to be a couple.
oh,
The guy who did our safety thing that we had to go through to get our little radiation badge at least had a bit of a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
He told us, you're going to find out, whether or not you've been exposed to too much radiation. Either A, when you turn in your badge in 3 months and they run the test and, it comes back that you had higher levels than what you should have. Or B, you're going to get undressed some night, go to lay down in bed with your significant other, and wonder why there's a glow stick.
Mm. Well, make things easier to find in the dark.
Exactly.
I would call that a green room comment, but it would be glow in the dark green room comment.
Well, speaking of In the Dark, that's a good Billy Squire song.
Oh, now I remember Dad coming home with his little film badge
Mm-hmm.
and putting it in a drawer and going, "Kids, don't get near that." And I always thought, until I got older, I always thought because that's the same drawer the gun's in. And then I realized, no, Dad's going, if we get a burglar, I'm going to shoot him with radioactive 22s. So,
well, the one thing we had to keep in mind was, if you're out running tests all day and you went back to the office to heat up your lunch,
Mm-hmm.
you had to remember to take the badge off and leave it at your desk while you went to heat up your food in the microwave.
Because the microwave, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you couldn't do was leave it on the dashboard of your vehicle.
Direct sunlight was no for that, right?
Mm-hmm. At least that much direct sunlight. Like, you could be out in the field, wearing it and doing whatever, but you didn't want to leave it in the vehicle all the time.
Yeah, you get back in your truck and your nuclear exposure badge is a molten puddle of plastic on the dash. You're going to freak the fuck out.
Well, I'll take it you're okay because you're still with us.
Yep. Yeah, I was the last one in our district that stupidly kept up with his side-by-sides on that. I did not know this at the time until I got a call one day. I was on my job site running some tests. I get a call from my engineer going, "Hey, the supervisor just called. They're out by the Portage Marina off Highway 12. They're doing a bridge." I'm like, "Okay, they need some density tests." I'm like, "Well, Leo's out there. Leo's certified." No, he didn't do his side-by-sides this year. I know Cameron and Kenny are both certified. No, they didn't do their side-by-sides. Son of a bitch. All right, I'll wrap up here. I'll head out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Load everything up back into the back of this Stratus, which the gauge did not fit into the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
You had to put it in the back seat and have both doors open, get it positioned just right,
Mm-hmm.
and shut them both at the same time. Pray you
That
didn't
was a
bust out a
challenge.
window. Yeah. And then, so I go out there. I'm running density tests for them. I get a call from my buddy that got me in with the state. Hey, doing this bridge down here on 35. Yeah. Need you to run density tests. You're certified, Scott. Why do you need me? I didn't do my side-by-sides. Motherfucker. So now I'm driving from the northern side of Porter County back through my job site over to US 35 to head the southern tip of LaPorte County. Wrap up there, I get a call from our contractor. Hey, we're ready for our next set of tests. Hi, I'll be there. Load everything up, go back to my job site, run another series of tests, get a call from Portage one more time. Hey, we need one more set. God damn it.
The good news is Joe has not bought any Duracell batteries in about 20 years.
Exactly.
And he doesn't have to turn on the light in the bathroom anymore.
Nope.
Did you tell them that, by God, y'all better be taking some side-by-side tests next year?
Actually, that was last year that we had the density gauge.
Okay.
Apparently, I was the only one not informed of this. The pricks.
Yeah, they decided it was too dangerous, didn't they?
That was shitty on their part.
Well, we only had a handful of contracts that still had the nuclear density testing. Everything else had already switched over to the LWDs and DCPs and all that.
Mm.
And we were technically piggybacking off of Fort Wayne's nuclear certificate.
Mm.
So we weren't even really allowed to have that many people who have access to it.
Yeah.
And me being the, good little worker that I was, because that was only my second year there,
Mm-hmm.
When it came time to do side-by-sides, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do all of them. What I get for being a model employee.
The innocence and stupidity of youth.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I got told at a job a long time ago. I said, boy, don't make the same mistake I did. I said, what's that? Don't learn too much because they'll expect you to do every damn thing.
You'd think I would have learned that when I worked at Staples, because I was one of two associates that was trained in every department. Reading my schedule was a royal pain in the ass sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when multiple people were going on vacation at the same time. So it was like, all right, I'm a cashier today. I'm in electronics tomorrow. Okay, well, I got Tuesday off. Wednesday. Oh, I'm in copy center Wednesday.
Damn.
Staples was my first official job that, had a W-2 and all that for.
Mm.
And, even after I became customer service lead, there were still times that they would have me cover other departments if people went on vacation. Especially copy center, when the copy center lead would go on vacation, she would tell the general manager, Joe is to be the one in charge over here, because he's the one I trust to do all the orders and order correctly to not just demolish my budget.
Yeah, order correctly. That's the sticking point, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a bit of a false alarm. The dog was scratching at the door. I'm sure to tell me it's time for me to go to bed. But when I finally opened the door, she's gone back and laid down next to Mom again, so everything's cool.
Mm.
Oh, we've still got a little while. Not much, but a little while.
Yeah.
Time's going by fast tonight.
We're not goofing off. Oh, got a message from Megan. Let me check this out. Oops. Oh no, I can't do that. That'll. Yeah, I can. Siri, go away. Do 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 do. Da, da, da. Oh, Emily said she's not feeling quite well. She's exhausted, so she wouldn't be here tonight. I missed that one.
Yeah, that was way earlier ago.
I cannot. I'm sorry, Megan, but I can't watch that video right now. I'm in the middle of a show, so I'll have to check that one out tomorrow or whatever. I hope that's all right. Oh.
You get this. Oh, there we go. Got something to pop. That felt good.
Teach Dawn how to do that. She'll love you for it.
Yeah.
I know how that feels.
With her.
You got some vertebrae that needs to be stretched, and it just won't stretch, and then all of a sudden it happens, and it's like, ooh, that's better than a burrito.
Yeah, the first time I went to the chiropractor when I pinched the nerve in my neck, once I got over the fact that it sounded like he was killing me, it felt pretty good.
Yeah.
But the first time he popped my neck, it sounded like one of those scenes from like an action movie where the guy, snaps another guy's neck. That's exactly what it sounded like when every single vertebrae just realigned all at one time. He did it the one way, and I'm like, okay, well this is how I go out. This is the end of the story here. Then he did it the other way, and it's like, okay, well that feels better. It released that nerve a little bit, so I had some pain going on. And he brings the bed back upright. I open my eyes. He goes, okay, stand there for at least 30 seconds before you step off. I go, why? He goes, because for the way your neck just popped, you try and step off right now, you're going to end up on the floor.
Yeah. There are better reasons to wind up on the floor, but not many.
Right.
Surprisingly, though, most of them do involve something popping. So, God, I hope Lindsay doesn't watch this. My mom wouldn't understand, but I hope my wife doesn't watch this.
Oh, good grief. There's no reason to. There's no... For her to get upset, there's no women on the show. I don't even think there's any women watching.
Stephanie just sent me a message. I mean, Megan just sent me a message, so she's still awake. She doesn't like to be recorded, though, so...
No.
Anytime she's on one of the shows that we're recording, she's going to be an avatar, so that's perfectly fine. Sorry, my brain just went to Bermuda for a moment.
Okay.
It's warm there. That's my excuse. It's warm there.
Yeah, we're getting snow outside right now.
Oh my God, that brings back memories. Picture Gordon Soley.
Hmm?
I said, oh God, that brings back memories. Picture of Gordon Soley.
Okay.
You know who he is, don't you?
I have no idea whatsoever.
Long time wrestling announcer back in the 70s and the early 80s.
Okay. That explains why I am not familiar because it's not one of my fandoms. But, for people like that, more power to you. I will not put you down.
Oh wow.
Let's see what else we got here in the last 15 minutes. Let's see. We've already discussed glowing in the dark, and in both of the fun ways. Let's see. Ow. Ooh, that. Oh, that popped. Oh, I don't know if you could hear that. This microphone's not that sensitive, but oh,
Yeah,
that felt really good.
I'm glad for you.
Um, spend too much time sitting in a chair. It's a good chair. It's not the best chair, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Um, I hope the dog's not pissed. I really don't, because she needs to stay quiet so Mama can stay asleep. She does not get enough sleep these days, and that negatively impacts the next day.
Yeah.
Um,
My fur
I may
balls.
have to help her get her car started in the morning if she wants to go to church. She said if it's raining, she ain't even getting the battery charger out. Because this stupid car, I wish to God I'd never bought it. I wish I'd had gone and got a decent one. I mean, it was affordable, but it's an old Buick with one of those built-in battery drains so that if you don't run it every single day, when you go out on a cold morning and try and get it to start, it will not start. Battery is dead as a doornail. I've got a battery charger standing by, I've got a drop cord standing by, everything's fine, but I wish that I had just ignored that offer for that particular used car and went down to the car lot and got something that was not a piece of shit. Um, hey, don't get me wrong, it drives really well. It's smooth. It's a pleasure to drive, but can't get it to start when you need it to start.
Yeah, and she don't drive enough to.
No, she only goes to church and back like maybe twice a week because on in the middle of the week she goes down to the church and does the food bank thing because she speaks Spanish and they need somebody that can talk with the Hispanic people that
Mm-hmm.
need to use the food bank for obvious reasons. I
Yeah.
mean, they're not in the highest paying jobs in the world. So,
No.
helping hand, church, no big deal. It happens. Um, hell, I've had to use food stamps and stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it, but I understand
No.
the necessity sometimes.
Yeah,
And
you gotta eat, and
if you if you got a family, you're going to swallow your pride and go, "Hey, I need help."
Hmm.
And help is provided by the church and other groups. So
mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. Oh, that heater feels warm. I like that.
Mm.
Oh, it's 81 degrees in here now, but it's 40 outside. Uh,
That helps.
I have told Lindsay time and time again, I don't care what the electric bill is. If I'm comfortable, we're good. I will spend the money. Oh, I cannot stand being cold. I really cannot stand being cold. I've been cold too many times in my life. Um, on the farm, at the factory, doesn't matter. I function best about this temperature. Um, don't ask me why. I guess because of the summer times at the factory got me used to being
Mm.
in 100-degree heat and just going, okay, yeah, well, I'll wear a t-shirt tomorrow. Um, but cold weather, I have a closet full of cold weather gear, and sometimes I will go out in the morning. Thank God those days are now over, and climb in a truck and go, time to go to work. Hope I've got enough layers on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is one thing I enjoy about my current job is if the weather's crap, I know the boss ain't going into the office. Therefore, we all work from home.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't miss the days of going in just to sit there and twiddle my thumbs for 8 hours when I can sit here and twiddle my thumbs for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
During the last
Makes
couple of
sense.
years of my mom's career at the bank, she was in charge of mortgage lending in the 70s after
Mm.
a housing market crash. Nobody was taking out mortgages. Mom said she did so many crossword puzzles in that last 2 years.
Mm.
She would be happy if she never saw another. Um, number four down is She just got tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seriously, it it. Hey, it was a thing. It
Mm.
happened. She was trying to keep on earning grocery money, and Dad was earning farming money. Um,
Mm.
it's amazing the disparity between the two expenses. Uh, Groceries are a whole lot cheaper than farming.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't think so at first, but yeah, um, you got land that you have to rent so that you've got enough places to grow the crops. You've got the basic price of the seeds. You've got upkeep on the tractors. You've got weed killer and fertilizer and all kinds of other things, and it just all flows together into one enormous outflow of money. And then you get this little inflow
Mm-hmm.
during harvest. Um, Daddy loved it, and it was a learning experience for me. It gave me a good work excuse me, work ethic.
Mm.
Never been afraid of working. In most places, if I go to work, it ain't got a touch on working for Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Um, Nothing like a 18-hour day with no paycheck at the end of it, no vacations,
Yep.
and no weekends. Um,
Yeah, but you weren't afraid of work.
no. That's one of the things that I enjoyed about it. Everything afterwards when Dad stopped farming and I was at the factory, they could throw me into anything, and I go, "Yep, okay, well, still better than baling hay." Um, although baling hay was fun.
Mm,
Not only did you get to drive something really cool, but had a lot of people coming together from the neighborhood to make sure that there was
mm.
enough helping hands to get the work done. Hey,
Curie,
Kiri.
I'm gonna say Curie's up late.
Okay.
Yeah,
He probably just got through streaming on Twitch.
either or he's glowing in the dark.
Yeah, one of the more interesting times that I was baling hay, Dan, I drove my grandfather's 65 Chevrolet stepside pickup. Had manual steering and a 3 on the tree. And damn parking brake looked like this huge pipe wrench.
I know exactly. Yeah,
And it had
I
a
know
manual
exactly that.
choke on it.
Yeah.
Oh
If
my
you didn't know how to
God.
use that, you're going to kill the damn thing.
You either, if you're not a man before you drive it, you will be after you've driven it. And he was
Yeah.
like, we were with the neighbors, and he'd already baled the hay. They were square bales, or rectangular bales. All we had to do was pick them up, load them on the back of the truck. He wanted me to drive the truck. Oh God, I was a nervous wreck because that was his baby. That was his first ever truck he bought brand new.
And you
And
had to get used to a clutch.
yeah, and I was a nervous wreck because grandfather was so country. He mumbled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got annoyed or irritated, he'd start talking faster. And I
But
was
not
scared
louder.
to death I was going to get him annoyed and I wasn't going to be able to understand him because I was deaf in one ear too. And I was a nervous wreck the whole time I drove that damn truck.
Now, and Daddy had bought an 18-foot dump truck,
Mm-hmm.
18-foot bed,
Mm-hmm.
300 horsepower, big old black mag wheels all the way around,
Mm.
2-speed axle. One day, I got asked to help some friends of mine at college move
Mm-hmm.
from one apartment building to another. So I took this thing through the middle of the University of Georgia.
Oh, wow.
I had so much fun. And then,
I bet you did after you got over the initial, like, oh shit.
no, I'd been driving the damn thing for years.
Okay.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I bet you got
And,
popular that day.
well, not only for helping my friends move, but we got up to the destination apartment, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody was complaining about having to unload the truck one box at a time. I'm going, well, if you really want me to, I can just dump it out here in the parking lot and drive off. They did not like that idea because the stereo hadn't been unloaded yet. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. When I
Hey.
was helping the pool hall reopen, we had to get all the pool tables out of storage, and the owner's nephew was going to be working for him, and he was kind of we'll just say he was a prissy little thing.
He
He
wasn't the
showed
most
up.
manly man.
Well, it wasn't that. He was more concerned about his style and everything else, and he shows up knowing that we're about to be doing a bunch of physical work. It's drizzling outside, so you're going to be walking through water and everything else. And he's like, well, I've got a date tonight. How am I going to keep these shoes clean?
Don't wear those shoes.
Yeah. Why the fuck did you wear them? And then we're getting ready to leave to go get all the pool tables. And he goes, I can drive the U-Haul. I look over at Paulie, his uncle. I said, hand me the damn keys. Paulie kind of looks at me. I'm like, I am the only person here with a CDL that's driven a vehicle that big. Give me the damn keys. I saw the way your nephew pulled into the parking lot. You want your pool tables to show up intact?
Now, there was one day I was left unsupervised.
Oh shit!
And I had
Damn,
the
it's 3
keys.
o'clock.
I had the keys to the dump truck, and for some reason, I felt a little adventurous. So I took the dump truck over to the local middle school where I had been a student before I got in high school. And I was out there on the blacktop cutting donuts in a dump truck. Nobody ever called the cops. Is that, or when the cops got the call, they go, "It's that Hollifield boy again. Don't, no. Just, he won't break anything expensive." And I finally peeled out of there and went through the middle of the town and around the courthouse circle, not square, circle. And so basically a what you calling them things? They've been putting them in everywhere, roundabout. And I headed off for home. Everything was fine. I got home, put the truck back in the barn. Nobody ever knew, except for the people that walked out on the basketball court the next day and go, "Them some big tires." Because I did leave black marks on the blacktop. So yeah, if some of the folks that I had been in class with had known that I had done that, I probably would not have been so looked down upon for being a bookworm.
Mhm.
But I got up to a lot of stuff I never got caught at, but several people were mighty suspicious. It was fun being me. It was really, it's always been fun being me.
Sad news, Dan.
We're already 3 minutes over.
No, Cindy Morgan, who was in Tron and probably more infamously known for Caddyshack,
Oh,
has passed away at age 69.
oh. Well, condolences to her friends and family
Yeah.
and all her fans.
Yeah. Lydia Cornell, who was on Too Close for Comfort, was talking about when Ted came to work on the first day of taping our show, Too Close for Comfort, and talked about what fun he had on Caddyshack with Bill Murray, Chevy Chase, Cindy Morgan, and Rodney Dangerfield. Rest in peace, Angel.
Well, there's a lot of rest in pieces in that particular paragraph.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And unfortunately, folks, our time among you for this week has run to a close. I'm going to tell the bedtime story, and we are going to be out of here faster than one of Zach's rockets. Not
Go get
that
it, guys.
one. Not that one. The other one. So good night, everybody. Hope you were entertained by our random ramblings. Thank you for being here, Joe. Thank you for being here, Chris.
You're welcome.
Thank everybody for watching, and we will see you next week.
Good night, folks.
Go good, guys. Good night.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.